Hey everyone! Today we're going to dive into one of the most touching stories you'll ever read, Sudamurti's How I Taught My Grandmother to Read. Now, on the surface it seems like a really simple story, right? But trust me, it's packed with so many incredible lessons about love, determination, and why it's never ever too late to learn.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Can you picture your own grandmother, at 62, deciding she wants to go back to school? This story throws us right into that world, where the roles of teacher and student get completely flipped, and it shows us something amazing, that the hunger to learn really doesn't have an age limit.
So our story is set in a small village up in North Karnataka. It's all about a 12-year-old girl and her 62-year-old grandmother, who she lovingly calls Ava. And their relationship, well, it's the absolute heart and soul of this entire story.
All right, so here's how we're going to walk through their journey together. We'll start with a story that's held hostage, then we'll see a powerful promise being made, we'll watch as a new kind of classroom takes shape, unpack all the deeper meanings, and finally get to a super emotional and satisfying ending.
Okay, so our story kicks off with this really simple but cherished weekly ritual. You see, Ava, the grandmother, couldn't read or write. She'd never had the chance to go to school. But she had this huge passion for stories, and there was one story in particular that she was absolutely hooked on.
That story was called Kashi Yatre, and it came out in parts every week in the Karmavira magazine. It's about an old woman who really wants to go on a pilgrimage to Kashi, but in the end she gives all her savings to a young orphan girl so she can get married. Now here's the crucial part. Ava had also never been to Kashi, and she saw herself in the main character. So for her, this wasn't just some story, it was like reading about her own life and dreams.
And so, every single Wednesday, the granddaughter would read the next chapter of the story to her Ava. Her grandmother would listen with, total concentration, remembering every single detail. And this wasn't just a private thing between them, it was a whole community event. Later, she'd go to the temple and discuss all the latest plot twists with her friends.
But you know how it is in stories. This cozy little routine, this source of weekly joy, is about to get completely turned upside down. And it all starts with something as simple as a family wedding. This one event is about to spark a life-changing decision. So the granddaughter goes away for a week to attend a wedding. When she gets back, she finds something that just shocks her to the core. Her strong, always smiling Ava is crying. She'd never ever seen her grandmother cry before. That night, sitting out on the terrace under the full moon, Ava finally tells her what's wrong.
You see, while the granddaughter was gone, the magazine came. Ava opened it, she saw the pictures for Kashi Yatre, but she couldn't understand a single word. She felt totally trapped by her own illiteracy. She said she just ran her hands over the pages wishing she knew what they said. That feeling of being so helpless was just overwhelming for her.
And this is what's so amazing about Ava. Out of that helplessness came this incredible determination. She wasn't going to stay defeated. Right then and there, she makes this firm decision. It's the moment she goes from feeling desperate to being completely determined.
And she doesn't just make some vague promise either. Nope, she sets a real solid goal. At 62 years old, she announces that she's going to learn the Kannada alphabet, and she's starting tomorrow. She even gives herself a deadline, the Saraswati Puja day during the Dasara festival. She vows that by that day, she'll be able to read a novel all by herself.
And with that one vow, the whole dynamic in the house just flips. The little 12-year-old girl is about to become a teacher, and her grandmother is about to become her very first student.
At first, the granddaughter just laughs. I mean, can you blame her? She kind of makes fun of her Ava, talking about her gray hair and wrinkled hands. But Ava's smile never wavers. She just says something amazing. For a good cause, if you are determined, you can overcome any obstacle. And that one line just perfectly shows the difference between being a kid and having that deep adult determination.
And let me tell you, Ava turned out to be the most wonderful student you could ever imagine. The amount of homework she did was, as her granddaughter said, amazing. She practiced constantly, reading, repeating, writing, and reciting. Her dedication was just on another level. It really shows you how hungry she was to learn. So, this story is way more than just a sweet little tale. It's filled with these powerful themes, and it shows us two incredible characters who both grow and learn so much from each other. Let's dig a little deeper into what makes them so special.
Ava is just the definition of determined, isn't she? She's so hardworking, and even though she never went to school, she has this massive respect for education and the freedom it brings. The granddaughter, on the other hand, she starts out a little childish,
but she quickly grows into this patient, caring, and really respectful teacher who totally gets how important this mission is for her grandmother.
And the themes in here are things we can all relate to. It shows how education gives you independence and confidence, and it's screaming this message that there is absolutely no age bar for learning. We see this today, right? In adult literacy programs or even when we teach our own grandparents how to use a new phone. Ava's story is just this beautiful reminder that learning is all about self-respect and dignity.
So, the deadline is here. It's the Dashara Festival. This is it, the moment of truth. Everything she's been working for comes down to this, and it leads to one of the most touching scenes in the whole story.
On the festival day, Ava calls her granddaughter over to the puja place, and then, as a sign of respect, she does something totally unexpected. She bows down and touches her granddaughter's feet. The granddaughter is just completely stunned, right? She's so confused why her own grandmother is doing this traditional gesture of respect to her.
And then Ava explains it with this incredibly powerful line. She makes it clear that she's respecting the teacher who taught her with so much love and made her independent. It's such a profound moment. It shows her deep, deep gratitude and her belief that knowledge and the people who share it deserve respect no matter how old they are.
In that moment, the granddaughter returns the gesture of respect. And then she gives Ava her gift, a copy of the novel Kashi Yatre. Ava opens it and reads the title out loud perfectly. The granddaughter knows, with so much pride, that her very first and most special student had passed with flying colors.
So, just to quickly recap Ava's amazing journey. She started from a place of feeling totally helpless. Then she made this powerful vow to change everything. She embraced being a student with incredible dedication. And in the end, she achieved that independence and dignity she wanted so badly. What an incredible transformation.
You know, this story just leaves us with such a beautiful thought. Teaching and learning are acts of love that can connect any generation. So what about you? If you had the chance, what gift of knowledge would you want to share with your grandparents? It's a really wonderful thing to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.